In 2004, a 23-year-old named Steve Coast launched OpenStreetMap with the ambitious plan of having ordinary people create a map of the world. The project started in London, and as the name OpenStreetMap implies, the project is best known for mapping streets, as well as what you find on streets. But less obvious has been the work done in places where motor vehicles are left behind. Today, OpenStreetMap contains a massive database of recreational trails. The data is free to use, and developers have used it to design online maps for outdoor navigation. One of the best-known developers is Andy Allen. His OpenCycleMap is one of 4 map layers featured on the OpenStreetMap website. These layers render the underlying data in different ways, and as you can see, OpenCycle clearly displays trails for hiking, as well as for bicycling. In addition to using OpenStreetMap data, the map uses elevation data from NASA's Shuttle Radar Topography mission to show contour lines and hillside shading. Using the CycleMap layer, here's what some of the world's trail systems look like using OpenStreetMap data. Sarah Hoffman's Waymarked Trails map uses OpenStreetMap data to highlight signposted routes, some of them long distance, like this one in France. Trails in OpenStreetMap are stored as a set of lines. Some maps take advantage of this to preview routes and assist with navigation. Here, for example, is how CalTopo previews the route in Yosemite to the top of Half Dome. And here is Gaia GPS's map, doing something similar for a route in Iceland. A route like this one that was created on a PC can be viewed on a Gaia phone app, and vice versa. Another app, Osman, can use OpenStreetMap data to preview a route, and do turn-by-turn navigation. The golden standard for mapping a trail on OpenStreetMap is to travel along the trail while recording a GPX track. The uploaded track is called a trace, and you use it to draw the trail in. You tag it as a path, fill in its name if it has one, and perhaps specify other attributes. Here's the result. The simplicity of this approach is key to OpenStreetMap's success as a trail map. The project came of age as GPSs were becoming more affordable, and after Wikipedia had demonstrated what crowdsourcing could accomplish. What once required a team of professional surveyors and cartographers could now be done as well by volunteer amateurs, whose numbers are growing. Trails and trail segments on OpenStreetMap are usually tagged as paths. There are now over 6 million objects in the database tagged this way. They cover most of the world. There's a couple of tools on the OpenStreetMap site that can give you a sense of how the trails you see were mapped. Clicking here displays at least some of the GPS traces that people have uploaded. You can also use the Query Feature tool to get a history of the trail versions. Here you can see a trail I added to OpenStreetMap years ago that has since been revised 2 times. That's generally a good thing. More mappers equal better maps. But note that each trail is only as accurate as the last person who changed it. Any mistakes remain until someone else corrects them. While on-the-ground surveys are the golden standard for trail mapping, there are a few other sources. Aerial maps are useful if trees aren't in the way. Some mapping data have been imported to OpenStreetMap. Topographical maps are available in a few places. These are most useful for mapping lakes and other water features that are difficult to survey on the ground. Aerial imagery is also useful for this purpose. Trail maps typically show official trails, the ones that are named, signed, and possibly maintained. OpenStreetMap uses a different criteria. If there's a path and you can traverse it, you can add it. For example, the beginning of this unofficial trail is scarcely visible from the main trail, but it is traversable, and it's recorded on OpenStreetMap. This divide between official and unofficial trails happens all the time, and OpenStreetMap mappers are free to map them both. A more extreme case is this path, which is in fact a mountaineering route, but tagged as a path just the same. Here's another. In determining what gets mapped, there's no OpenStreetMap tribunal. The community is the final arbiter. This national park from Canada's Northern Territories shows no trails at all. Is that true, or have mappers just not gotten around to mapping it? Either is possible, and of course that's true with any part of OpenStreetMap. It's a work in progress, so there's always a possibility that something will be missing. That said, OpenStreetMap appears to be more complete than other digital maps. I can't prove this. While the project has been the subject of many academic studies, I've yet to see one on trails. But empirically it seems to be true, at least in comparison with Google Maps. You can test this for yourself using Map Comparer, a tool from the German company GeoFabric. Here, I've set the left panel to display the OpenCycle rendering of OpenStreetMap, and the right panel to Google Maps. Both panels frame the same area, so by pointing the tool to different places, you can get a side-by-side comparison. OpenStreetMap has become the world's trail map. But, for any given location, a map created by professional surveyors and cartographers may well be the clearest guide to where you are. And where you can go.